Hello and welcome to my video of inputs and outputs, terms with explanation and flow. One of the common struggle for PMP aspirants is to memorize the inputs and outputs for each of 49 processes of PMBOK guide. Well, in this part 1 video, I will be sharing the input and outputs for PMP aspirants. This consolidated reference will help you to identify the knowledge area and eliminate the wrong answers from the scenario questions. Today we'll talk about the part 1, which consists of 50 inputs and outputs. If you like this video, please give your feedback in the comment section below so I can create the balanced input and outputs terms and with explanations. I have already created tools and techniques based on groupings in my previous videos. You can refer those for better insights. If you are new to my channel and watching for the first time, let me welcome you first. I am Praveen Pasam and I am a certified PMP and supply chain professional, having more than 14 years of experience in various verticals. The tips and tricks I share in my channel are important ones when what I studied during my PMP preparation. Coming to the slide number 1, accepted deliverables. Deliverables that meet the acceptance criteria are formally signed off and approved by the customer or sponsor. This is the output from validate scope and it goes as input to close project or phase. The second one is activity attributes. Activity attributes extend the description of the activity by identifying multiple components associated with each activity. Example are activity identifier WBS ID, activity label or name, predecessor activities, successor activities, logical relationships, leads and lags, resource requirements, imposed dates, constraints and assumptions. These activity attributes are output from defined activities and it goes to project documents as inputs. Coming to the input and output term 3, activity list. It is a comprehensive list that includes all schedule activities required on the project. It also includes the activity identifier and a scope of work description for each activity in sufficient details. This is the output from defined activities and it goes as input to various project documents. Coming to point number 4, agreements. Agreements may take the form of contract, MOU, letter of intent and SLA, service level agreement, verbal or written agreements, emails, etc. A contract is a mutually binding agreement that obligates the seller to provide the specified products, services or results, obligates the buyer to compensate the seller and represents a legal relationship that is subject to remedy in the courts. This is the output from the project from requesting organization or conduct procurements. It goes as inputs to various areas like develop the project charter, monitor and control project work, close project or phase, collect requirements, develop schedule, determine budget, control resources, identified risk, control procurement. Coming to slide number 2, point number 5, approved change request. Change requests reviewed and approved by the change control board or customer. This is the output from perform integrated change control and input to direct and manage project work, control quality, control procurements. Coming to point number 6, assumption log. High level strategic and operational assumptions and constraints are normally identified in the business case before the project is initiated and will flow into the project charter. Lower level activity and task assumptions are generated throughout the projects, such as defining technical specifications, estimates, the schedule risk, etc. The assumption log is used to record all assumptions and constraints throughout the project lifecycle. This is the output from developed project charter and it goes to input to the various project documents. Coming to point number 7, basis of estimate. A supporting document providing clear and complete understanding of how the estimate was derived. This is the output from estimate activity durations, estimate cost, estimate activity resources. This goes as input to various project documents. Coming to point number 8, bid documents. Bid documents are used to solicit proposals from prospective sellers. The bidding documents can include a request for information, request for quotation, request for proposal, or other appropriate procurement documents. This comes from output as from plan procurement management. Input to it goes to procurement documentation. Point number 9, business documents, business case or business benefit plan. This is the output, comes from the project. It goes input to the project charter, close project, collect requirements, determine budget, plan procurement management, identify stakeholders. Coming to point number 10, change log. Log of change requests with their status, approved, rejected, deferred, etc. and other related information. It comes from the output from the perform integrated change control, and input it goes to various project documents. Coming to slide number 3, the important one, change request. A change request is a formal proposal to modify any document, deliverable or baseline. Change requests may require preventive action, corrective action or defect repair. Change request comes from as output from various sources like direct and manage project work, monitor and control project work, validate scope, control scope, define activities, develop schedule, control cost, manage quality, control quality, acquire resources, develop team, manage team, control resources, monitor risk, plan procurement management, conduct procurements, control procurements, identify stakeholders, manage stakeholders, monitor stakeholders. If you see, this comes from majorly monitor and control process groups, and this goes as input to perform integrated change control. Coming to slide number 4, point number 12, closed procurements. The buyer usually through its authorized procurement administrator provides the seller with formal written notice that the contract has been completed. This is the output from control procurements, input to various project documents. Point number 13, communication management plan. It is a subsidiary plan of the project management plan that describes how project communications will be planned, structured, implemented and monitored for effectiveness. It contains stakeholder communication requirement, information to be communicated. This is the output from plan communication management, and the input to becomes a component of the project management plan. Point number 14, cost baseline. Approved version of time phased project budget represented as S curve. This is important, S curve. It includes contingency reserves but excludes management reserves. Management reserves are added to the cost baseline to produce the total project budget. If this is output from determined budget, input, it becomes a component of the project management plan. Point number 15, cost estimates. Cost estimates includes quantitative assessments of the probable cost required to complete project work as well as contingency amounts to account for identified risk and management reserve to cover unplanned work that are applied to the activity cost estimate. This includes all costs like direct cost, indirect cost, cost of financing, exchange rates, etc. Indirect cost and direct cost are important terms, like you review it. You can expect some questions in the final exam. This is the output from estimate cost and input to various project documents. Point number 16, cost forecast. Future predictions based on current performance like EAC value and bottom up EAC value. Output from control cost, and it goes input to various project documents. Coming to slide number 5, point number 17, cost management plan. The plan of the project management plan that describes how the project cost will be planned, structured and controlled. It includes how the remaining cost management process will be carried out, level of accuracy, unit of measure, level of precision, control thresholds, rules of performance measurement, reporting formats and additional details, etc. This is the output from plan cost management, input to becomes a component of the project management plan. Point number 18, deliverables. Any unique and verifiable product, result or capability to perform a service that is required to be produced to complete a process, phase or project. It is the output from direct and manage project work, input to manage project knowledge and control quality. Point number 19, duration estimates. Duration estimates are quantitative assessments of the likely number of time periods that are required to complete each activity. They have an indicative range like 2 weeks plus or minus 2 days or percentage. This is the output from the estimate activity durations and input to various project documents. Point number 20, EEF, enterprise environmental factors. EEF refer to conditions not under the control of the project team that influence, constrain or direct the project. These conditions can be internal or external to the organization. It comes from outside the project, from organization, from outside the organization. Input goes as input to several processes. Point number 21. EEF updates. The updates related to the resources, mainly the employee skills level, employee development plan records, resource availability within the organization, etc. This is the output from acquire resources, develop team, manage team. This is the input to updated EEFs go back to the enterprise organization. Point number 22. Final product service or results transition. Final product service or result that the project was authorized to produce. Output from closed project or phase. It is handed over to the customer, requesting organizations or requesting department. Coming to the next slide, point number 23, final report. The final report provides a summary of the project performance, the evidence that completion criteria was met, summary of how the final product, service or result achieved the business needs identified in the business plan, etc. This is output from closed project or phase. It goes back to the enterprise organization. 24 point number, issue log. The issue log is a project document where all the issues are recorded and tracked. This is the output from direct and managed project work, input to various project documents. Point number 25, independent cost estimates. The procuring organization may elect to either prepare its own independent estimate or have a cost estimate prepared by an outside professional estimator to serve as a benchmark on proposed responses. Significant differences in cost estimates can be an indication that the procurement scope of work was deficient or ambiguous, or that the prospective sellers either misunderstood or failed to respond fully to the procurement scope of work. This is the output from plant procurement management. It goes to project documentation. Point number 26, lessons learned register. It contains lessons learned on the project. It can include the category and description of the situation. It may also include the impact, recommendations and proposed actions associated with the situation. It may also record challenges, problems, realize risk and opportunities and other content as appropriate. This is the output from managed project knowledge and it goes to various project documents. Point number 27, make or buy decision. A make or buy analysis results in a decision as to whether particular work can best be accomplished by the project team or needs to be purchased from outside sources. This is the output from plant procurement management. It goes to procurement documentation. Point number 28, milestone list. It identifies all project milestones and indicates whether the milestone is mandatory or optional. This is the output from define activities. This goes as input to various project documents. Coming to next slide, point number 29, OPA, organizational process asserts are the plans, processes, policies, procedures and knowledge base specific to and used by the performing organizations. This output comes from outside of the project from organization. Input goes to several processes. Point number 30, outputs from other processes, subsidiary plans and baselines, output from various processes and input to develop the project management plan. Point number 31, physical resource assignments. Documentation of the physical resource assignments records the material, equipment, supplies, location and other physical resources that will be used during the project. This is the output from acquire resources. It goes to various project documents. Point number 32, procurement documentation. Several documents and artifacts related to procurement which are output from procurement processes. Examples are procurement strategy, procurement statement of work, bid documents, make or buy decisions, independent cost estimates, selected sellers, closed procurement. This is output from plant procurement management and goes as input to close project, identify risk, conduct procurements, control procurements, identify stakeholders. Point number 33, procurement documentation updates to several procurement documents. It is output from control procurements. It goes to procurement documentation. Point number 34, procurement management plan. It is a subsidiary plan of the project management plan that contains the activities to be undertaken during the procurement process. It includes how procurement will be coordinated with all other project aspects, timetable of key procurement activities, procurement matrices to be used among project contracts. This is output from plant procurement management. It becomes a component of the project management plan. Coming to next slide, point number 35, procurement strategy. The objective of the procurement strategy is to determine the project delivery method, the type of legally binding agreements, and how the procurement will advance through the procurement phases. It includes delivery method, contract payment types like fixed price or cost plus, etc., procurement phases, etc. This output from plan procurement management input to procurement documentation. Point number 36, procurement statement of work. The statement of work for each procurement is developed from the project scope baseline and defines only that portion of the project scope that is to be included within the related contract. The scope of work describes the procurement item in sufficient detail to allow prospective sellers to determine if they are capable of providing the product, services, or results. This is the output from plan procurement management. It goes into procurement documentation. Point number 37, project calendars. It identifies the working days and shifts that are available for scheduled activities. A schedule model may require more than one project calendar. This is the output from developed schedule. It goes to project documents. Point number 38, project charter. Project purpose or justification, measurable project objectives and related success criteria, high level requirements, high level project description and boundaries, key deliverables, overall project risk, summary, milestone schedule, pre-approved financial resources, key stakeholder list, project approval requirements are mentioned in the project charter. This is the output from develop the project charter, and it goes as the input to various processes like develop the project management plan, close project, plan scope management, collect requirements, define scope. This is basically used in the planning phase and also in the close project phase. Coming to next slide, point number 39, project communications. Information which is communicated like performance reports, deliverable status, schedule progress, cost incurred, presentation and other information required by stakeholders. This is the output from managed communications. It goes to various project documents. Coming to the important input and output term, point number 40, project documents. Several artifacts and documents which are outputs of various processes are called project documents. These are various documents listed on PMBOK page 89, and these are output from various project management processes. This goes as input to various processes. Please kindly pause the video and go through this processes which is going as input like direct and manage project work, close project phase, collect requirements, define scope, validate scope, control scope, etc. Coming to next slide, point number 41, project funding requirements. Total funding requirements and periodic funding requirements derived from the cost baseline. Funding often occurs in incremental amounts and may not be evenly distributed, which appears as steps. This is output from determined budget and it goes input to control cost. Project number 42, project management plan. It contains subsidiary management plans for each knowledge area, baselines, additional components like change management plan, configuration management plan, performance measurement baseline, PLC, developmental approach, management reviews and other details. This is output from develop project management plan. Input all processes except develop project charter and develop project management plan. Point number 43, project schedule. This is output from develop schedule and it goes to various project documents. Point number 44, project schedule network diagrams. This is the output from sequence activities and it goes to various project documents as inputs. Point number 45, project scope statement. It includes project scope description, acceptance criteria, deliverables, assumptions, constraints, inclusions, exclusions, etc. This is the output from define scope and it goes as input to various project documents. Point number 46, project team assignments. The documentation of team assignments records the team members and the roles and responsibilities for the project. This is the output from acquired resources and the input to the various project documents. Coming to the final slide of the part 1, point number 47, quality control measurements. Documented results of control quality activities. This is output from control quality and input to various project documents. Point number 48, quality management plan. It is a subsidiary plan of the project management plan that describes how applicable policies, procedures and guidelines will be implemented to achieve the quality objectives. Is output from plan quality management. It becomes a component of the project management plan. Please pause the video and read through the description of the quality management plan. And coming to the point number 49, quality matrices. It specifically describes a project or product attribute and how the control quality process will verify compliance to it. Some examples of quality matrices include percentage of tasks completed on time, cost performance, CPI, failure rate, and this output from plant quality management. It goes to various project documents. Point number 50, quality report. The information presented in the quality reports may include all quality management issues escalated by the team, recommendations for process, project and product improvements, corrective actions recommendations, and the summary of findings from the control quality process. This is the output from managed quality. It goes to various project documents. Point number 51, requirements documentation. Requirements documentation describes how individual requirements meet the business needs for the project. This comes as output from collect requirements. It goes to various project documents. We have completed part 1 of the inputs and outputs, tips and tricks with the clear description, and I will take you to the part 2 in my next video. I hope the information provided in this video will help you to clear the PMP exam. Please subscribe, watch my other videos for better insights. Thanks for your support.